In the dense forests of the Pacific Northwest, where shadows linger and whispers of ancient legends dance among the trees, there exists a tale that chills the marrow and quickens the pulse, a story of primal terror that haunts the dreams of those who dare to listen. It begins with a small, secluded town nestled deep within the embrace of the wilderness. The townsfolk speak in hushed tones of the creature that prowls the night, a being neither fully man nor beast, but something altogether more sinister. They call it the Silverclaw, a name whispered with a mix of fear and reverence, for its fur shines like moonlight and its claws leave trails of blood in its wake. The legend traces back generations, passed down from elder to child like a cursed heirloom. Some say it was a curse wrought by a vengeful spirit, while others claim it was the result of a forbidden pact made under the light of a blood-red moon. Regardless of its origins, one thing remains certain. When the moon is full and the night is still, the Silverclaw prowls the forest, hungry for flesh and blood. Among the townsfolk, there are those who have encountered the creature firsthand, those who have seen its glowing eyes peering through the darkness, felt its hot breath upon their necks, and heard its mournful howls echoing through the trees. These encounters leave scars both seen and unseen, driving some to madness and others to take up arms in a futile attempt to slay the beast. But the Silverclaw is cunning, elusive, and its presence in the forest is as much a part of the natural order as the turning of the seasons. It moves with the stealth of a shadow, striking swiftly and mercilessly before melting back into the darkness, leaving only shredded remains and shattered lives in its wake. As the moon waxes and wanes, the town lives in a state of perpetual fear, never knowing when the Silverclaw will strike next. Some nights pass without incident, the forest shrouded in an eerie silence that belies the terror that lurks just beyond the edge of sight. Other nights are filled with screams that pierce the darkness, sending shivers down the spines of even the bravest souls. But amidst the fear and uncertainty, there are those who refuse to be cowed by the darkness. They gather in secret, their faces hidden beneath hoods and their hands clutching weapons forged from silver, the one substance said to harm the creature that stalks them. They are hunters, driven by a desperate need to protect their loved ones and rid the forest of the ancient evil that threatens to consume them all. With each passing night, they venture deeper into the heart of the wilderness, following the trail of destruction left in the wake of the Silverclaw. But as they draw closer to their quarry, they find themselves facing not just a creature of the night, but something far more sinister and ancient, a force that has lurked in the shadows since time immemorial, waiting for the right moment to unleash its fury upon the world. And so the hunters press on, their resolve tested at every turn as they confront horrors beyond imagining. But as they delve deeper into the darkness, they come to realize that the true nature of the Silverclaw is far more terrifying than they could have ever imagined, and that their battle is not just against a single creature, but against an ancient evil that threatens to consume them all. As the moon rises once more, casting its pale light upon the forest below, the fate of the town hangs in the balance, and only time will tell whether the hunters will emerge victorious or whether they will become just another chapter in the legend of the Silverclaw. As the hunters delved deeper into the heart of the forest, their resolve was tested at every turn. Each step they took seemed to bring them closer to the truth, yet also deeper into the clutches of the darkness that pervaded the wilderness. They encountered strange markings etched into the trees, symbols that seemed to pulse with an otherworldly energy. They stumbled upon hidden groves where the very air thrummed with power, and they heard whispers on the wind that spoke of ancient prophecies and forgotten truths. But perhaps most unsettling of all were the encounters with those who dwelled within the forest, creatures neither fully human nor fully animal, beings that seemed to blur the line between predator and prey. These encounters left the hunters questioning everything they thought they knew about the world around them, and they began to realize that the Silverclaw was not just a creature of the night, but a symbol of something far more sinister, a harbinger of a darkness that threatened to consume not just the town, but the very fabric of reality itself. As they pressed on, driven by a mixture of fear and determination, they found themselves drawn to a place of ancient power, a place where the barrier between worlds was thin, and where the true nature of the Silverclaw was finally revealed. But to say more would be to reveal too much, for the true heart of the story lies not in the destination, but in the journey itself, the journey of those who dare to confront the darkness, to face their fears, and to discover the truth that lies hidden within the shadows. And so the tale of the Silverclaw continues, a story of mystery and terror that echoes through the ages, reminding us that some secrets are best left buried, and that the true nature of evil is far more complex than we could ever imagine. As the hunters delved deeper into the forest, they began to uncover ancient ruins hidden beneath the thick canopy of trees. These ruins, long forgotten by the world above, spoke of a time when the forest was not merely a place of darkness and fear, but a realm of boundless magic and untold wonders. Inscribed upon the crumbling stone walls were tales of a lost civilization, a people who had once lived in harmony with the creatures of the forest and worshipped the spirits that dwelled within. But as the hunters delved further into the ruins, they discovered something even more unsettling, a prophecy foretelling the return of a great darkness, a darkness that would consume the world unless stopped by those brave enough to face it. The hunters knew then that they were not just fighting to rid the forest of the Silverclaw, but to prevent the fulfillment of a prophecy that threatened to plunge the world into eternal night. With this revelation weighing heavy on their hearts, they pressed on, determined to uncover the truth behind the legend and put an end to the darkness once and for all. But as they journeyed deeper into the heart of the forest, they found themselves beset by ever more powerful adversaries, creatures of nightmare and legend that sought to thwart their quest at every turn. They faced werewolves whose feral rage was matched only by their cunning, witches who wielded dark magic born of ancient grudges and forgotten vows, and creatures whose very existence defied explanation or reason. Yet still, the hunters pressed on, their determination unwavering even in the face of overwhelming odds. For they knew that the fate of the world hung in the balance, and that they were the only ones who could stand against the encroaching darkness. And so the tale of the Silverclaw continues, a story of courage and sacrifice, of heroes who dare to defy the darkness and confront the shadows that lurk within us all. But whether they will emerge victorious or succumb to the darkness that threatens to consume them remains to be seen, for the true heart of the story lies not in the destination, but in the journey itself, the journey of those who dare to face their fears and embrace the light that shines even in the darkest of nights. As the hunters ventured deeper into the heart of the forest, they encountered beings unlike any they had ever seen, creatures of myth and legend, guardians of secrets long forgotten by mortal minds. These guardians, ancient and wise, spoke of a time before time, when the world was young and the forces of light and darkness waged an eternal struggle for dominion over the land. They revealed to the hunters the true nature of the Silverclaw, being not born of flesh and blood, but of pure darkness, a fragment of the primordial void that existed before the dawn of creation. They spoke of how the Silverclaw had once been a force for balance, a protector of the forest and its inhabitants, but had been corrupted by the same darkness it had sworn to defeat. The hunters learned that the Silverclaw was but a pawn in a much larger game, a game played by beings of unimaginable power, whose motives and machinations remained shrouded in mystery. They realized that to defeat the Silverclaw, they would need to uncover the truth behind the ancient conflict that had shaped the world since time immemorial. Armed with this newfound knowledge, the hunters continued their journey, guided by the wisdom of the forest guardians and the light of their own courage. Along the way, they encountered allies who pledged their support to the cause, beings both mortal and immortal, each with their own reasons for opposing the darkness that threatened to engulf the world. Together, they uncovered ancient relics and artifacts imbued with the power to banish the darkness and restore balance to the world. They faced trials and tribulations that tested their strength and resolve, and they confronted their own inner demons as they fought to overcome the darkness that lurked within their own hearts. But as they drew closer to their goal, they realized that the true battle lay not in defeating the Silverclaw, but in confronting the darkness that dwelled within themselves. For they knew that only by embracing the light could they hope to banish the darkness once and for all, and restore peace to the world. And so the hunters pressed on, their hearts filled with hope and determination, knowing that their journey was not yet at an end. For the true test of their courage lay ahead, in the final confrontation with the Silverclaw and the forces of darkness that sought to destroy everything they held dear. But whether they would emerge victorious or succumb to the darkness that threatened to consume them remained to be seen, for the true heart of the story lies not in the destination, but in the journey itself, the journey of those who dare to defy the darkness and embrace the light that shines even in the darkest of nights. As the hunters delved deeper into the forest, they discovered ancient chambers hidden beneath the roots of towering trees. These chambers held secrets long forgotten by the world above, secrets that spoke of a time when the Silverclaw was not a creature of darkness, but a guardian of the forest, sworn to protect its inhabitants from harm. But something had gone terribly wrong. A darkness had crept into the heart of the forest, corrupting the Silverclaw and twisting it into a creature of pure malevolence. And now, that darkness threatened to consume not just the forest, but the entire world. As the hunters explored the chambers, they stumbled upon a chamber filled with strange symbols and arcane markings. At the center of the chamber stood an altar, upon which rested a glowing orb pulsating with an otherworldly energy. The hunters realized that this orb held the key to defeating the Silverclaw and banishing the darkness once and for all. But to harness its power, they would need to unlock its secrets and perform a ritual of unimaginable complexity. As they studied the symbols etched into the walls, they realized that the ritual required a sacrifice, one of pure heart and unwavering courage, willing to give everything to save the world from destruction. Tensions among the hunters rose as they grappled with the knowledge that one among them would need to make the ultimate sacrifice. Each hunter wondered if they had the strength to face the darkness and emerge victorious, and doubts began to creep into their minds. But even as despair threatened to overwhelm them, a glimmer of hope remained, a hope born from the bonds of friendship and the strength of their collective will. For they knew that together, they were stronger than any darkness that dared to stand in their way. And so, with their resolve renewed, the hunters prepared to perform the ritual. They knew that the road ahead would be fraught with peril, but they also knew that they were not alone, that as long as they stood together, they would always find a way to overcome even the greatest of challenges. And so the tale of the Silverclaw continues, a story of courage and sacrifice, of heroes who dare to defy the darkness and embrace the light that shines even in the darkest of nights. But whether they will emerge victorious or succumb to the darkness that threatens to consume them remains to be seen, for the true heart of the story lies not in the destination, but in the journey itself, the journey of those who dare to face their fears and embrace the light that shines even in the darkest of nights. As the hunters prepared to perform the ritual, they knew that their time was running out. The darkness pressed in around them, suffocating and relentless. Each step they took felt heavier than the last, burdened by the weight of the world on their shoulders. With solemn determination, they began the ritual, chanting ancient incantations as they moved around the altar. The air crackled with energy, and the orb pulsed with a blinding light that seemed to pierce the darkness itself. But as the ritual reached its climax, tragedy struck. In a moment of selfless sacrifice, one of the hunters stepped forward, offering themselves up to the orb in a bid to banish the darkness once and for all. Their companions watched in horror as the light consumed them, their screams echoing through the chamber as they were consumed by the orb's power. And in that moment, the darkness seemed to retreat, driven back by the purity of their sacrifice. But the victory was bittersweet, for the hunter's sacrifice had come at a great cost. With heavy hearts, the remaining hunters emerged from the chamber, their spirits broken and their souls weighed down by grief. The forest stood silent and still, as if mourning the loss of one of its own. And as the hunters looked out upon the world they had fought so hard to save, they realized that the darkness had not truly been defeated, it had merely been held at bay, lurking in the shadows, waiting for its chance to rise again. And so the tale of the Silverclaw ended not with triumph, but with sorrow and loss. The world would continue to turn, and the darkness would continue to lurk in the hearts of men. But somewhere, deep within the forest, a flicker of light remained, a reminder of the sacrifice made by one brave soul, and the hope that still burned bright even in the darkest of nights.